se actuará en el Palacio de los Deportes, muy cerca de Iztapalapa, una de las zonas con mayor criminalidad en la Ciudad de México. No opongan resistencia. Preparen sus carteras. Y prepárense para las transmisiones especiales que tiene 985. 7 de febrero, a partir de las 13 horas. Celebrando 40 años de la invasión británica al continente americano. Celebrando la llegada de los Beatles al aeropuerto JFK de Nueva York en 1964. Radioactivo dedicará toda su programación al Reino Unido de la Gran Bretaña, Irlanda del Norte. Sábado 7 de febrero. Sábado 7 de febrero. Realizaremos nuestros acostumbrados enlaces en vivo. Desde el lugar de los hechos. Ya lo saben. Todos los detalles sobre la actuación del grupo Entonces Travis se transmitirán en Radioactivo. Y eso no es todo. Travis se desplazará a la Ciudad de México para traer sus canciones de amor a una tierra llena de odio y bandas de robacoches. Preparen sus pertenencias y preparen sus corazones. Sábado 7 de febrero. Travis en vivo para la Ciudad de México desde la cabina de Radioactivo 98.5 FM. Sábado 7 de febrero, a partir de las 13 horas, un concierto acústico al que podrás asistir a una frontera, sintonizando 985. Travis en Radioactivo.
Año 2004. El peor enemigo sigue siendo uno mismo. Radioactivo contra radioactivo.
La delegación Miguel Hidalgo es una de las más privilegiadas en toda la ciudad. Cuenta con colonias muy pudientes y casi nunca se va la luz. Crucen los dedos para que hoy no se presente ninguna falla en el suministro de energía eléctrica. Travis se encuentra en la cabina de Radioactivo, actuando en vivo para la Ciudad de México.
Muy buenas tardes, tengan todos ustedes, bienvenidos a Radioactivo 98.5. Estamos completamente en vivo en Prado Sur 150 en la colonia Lomas de Chapultepec. Aquí está Rulo.
Topita.
Buenas tardes.
Y está Travis. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Tenemos de izquierda a derecha a Fran Healy, Dougie Payne, Neil Primrose y Andy Dunlop. Están todos aquí ya con sus instrumentos listos para hacer una presentación acústica desde el edificio de Radioactivo de Imagen Telecomunicaciones.
How are you guys? It's great to have you here. I remember like a couple of years ago I was buying CDs and I bumped into Neil in the Virgin Megastore in LA. And I was like, you gotta come to Mexico sometime. You have to be here because people really like the band. He said, I think you were recording the Invisible Band.
It's the first time you worked on the first album with Steve Lillywhite, then you went to Nigel Godrich. It's the first time you guys produced an album yourselves. How was the experience of being alone there in the studio?
You have someone there who's saying, no, that's rubbish, or that's good, or that's bad, or whatever. But this time we
just thought everything was brilliant.
yeah. It was a really good experience.
Was it harder to get around to the point of a song? Maybe sometimes the producer works as a referee when everybody has to be focused.
We just sort of kept ourselves in shape. Yeah. Well, if something sounds good, it sounds good, and if something sounds bad, it's obvious. So you end up you just keep all the good bits, and then you lose all the bad bits, and hopefully you have something that's interesting to listen to at the end of it.
And you waited until your fourth album. I mean, you had the experience and the sensibility to know when it was working and when it was not.
We picked up a lot from our friends, Nigel and Steve, and all the people that we've worked with. But we didn't plan on producing the album ourselves, though. It just happened. We went to Scotland just to be together and hang out, and we had some, recording equipment with us, and then it just happened. We didn't plan it. It was great. But we had Chad Blake to mix. If you've got a really good mix engineer, then you can make anything sound good.
And Chad Blake's very good. So you see yourself bringing a producer for your next album, or it's gonna be self-produced?
We we're very bad at making plans. We just kind of take things as it comes, and I think the songs will kind of demand what they demand, you know. So if we feel that we can do it ourselves, then we will. But because we have that option now after making the last record. But I mean, it's nice to work with other people for ideas and just to get a different kind of input. So we may well have somebody else there.
All right.
Would you ever produce another band? I mean, if you were asked by other bands to produce their albums?
We had a friend of ours called Susie Hug. She's half Japanese, half American. And we sort of played on her album. I produced the record and we all played on it. And it's excellent. So
Is
we've
it
done
out?
it, but I wouldn't do it again. It's quite stressful.
Is it out, the album?
It's coming out soon, yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. We're just about pressing the record up. It's all sort of homemade, you know. So it takes a little bit of time.
Right. Well, you've been here rehearsing the whole morning. You are going to play for the radioactive audience. So whenever you guys feel like
Right,
doing
we're going
it.
to play, the first song we're going to play is from the new record, 12 Memories. It's called We Offended.
Aplausos en vivo para Travis, que se encuentra en este momento en la cabina de Prado Sur 150, en la colonia Lomas de Chapultepec. Estamos transmitiendo en vivo desde Radioactivo 98.5 un concierto de Travis para toda la Ciudad de México.
Hey, that was great, guys. I remember seeing you in Reading was probably 2000,
2002.
2001.
You were the
At the festival?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be 2001.
And I remember 2001, yeah, and you were headlining, and I thought I would see a gentle show, but you rock pretty hard. And
Oh, yeah. It's
people expect,
Yeah,
you know.
I think because the albums are quite, they're quite gentle. But you can't go. I mean, it's hard to go on stage and not get excited. You know, I think part of the appeal of live music is just this, the energy that you can produce, and it's really hard to be on stage and sort of, play really quietly and everything. It's quite boring. But we've always kind of rocked it up on stage. I think a band's life on albums should be and is allowed to be completely different from a live thing. And most people that have come to see Travis perform, if they've not understood the band before, if they've kind of gone, oh, well, whatever, they suddenly get it when they see the band live. They're like, right, okay.
So you get a lot, what I just said, about being surprised by the band live.
Yeah.
How has it for you to break in America? You come from Scotland, and it's not nowadays not very easy for bands from other countries to break in America. It's a very tight market.
Yeah. Well, it's because the radio stations in the United States, they're run by like one company, say Clear Channel, and it's all about keeping the customer happy. They don't want to put anything new on the radio stations naturally because they're running a business, and they don't want people to switch on to another radio station. And that's why I think they're reticent to play new bands, Travis and many other bands included. But it's interesting, for all those, there should be one businessman out there who realizes that there's millions of Americans who've switched their radio off completely because they don't like what they hear on the radio. There's not a radio station that represents them. And it's funny, the business in America is calling this group of people the disenfranchised. And I think, Travis can represent that group.
These are all the people that come to our shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had the chance to see you in Chicago, and it was crowded. You do very well in America.
If you can't get played on the radio, you've just got to go out and play to people. Just take it directly to them. So it's kind of two different things going on. And like as Franny says, the radio is very conservative and doesn't want to play things that people don't already know. So it is difficult to get on there.
And it's also very different. I'm sure you're pretty popular in New York and in LA, and it's very different from what's happening in Middle America, right?
Oh yeah, man. It's
like different countries.
But it's strange, like Dougie was saying there, there's two separate, you kind of have a schizophrenic existence. You're a live band and you're a studio band. The albums go in the shops, the band goes in a venue, and the two things sort of, go in parallel. And sometimes when the two things cross over, that's when it goes. And that happened in the United Kingdom. We toured, and nothing happened for like 3 years.
You mean when the first album came out?
Yeah, I mean, that went, and it didn't really chart very well. The singles didn't do very well, but we built up this really big following live. We just kept playing live, which is kind of what you do. And then as soon as you get a radio hit or something, something happens at radio, and the record sales start to sort of go up, then the live thing and the record thing, come together, and that's when it starts to get interesting. But other than that, nothing's really changed for us because, we've always toured, we've always we'll play to a room, full of people, we'll play to 3 people, doesn't matter. If you're a band, you have to play, it doesn't matter. We just play for ourselves in rehearsal, it's, that's what you do when you're in a band.
Which one would you say is your best gig ever?
Best gig ever. We've had a few that really kind of stand out. I mean, obviously, kind of for scale, headlining Glastonbury in 2000. Was that 2000?
2000, yeah.
That was pretty amazing. That was like 150,000 people, and it was like a kind of medieval village. There's torches and campfires and bonfires going on.
Flags.
It was just this kind of massive sea of people, and that was pretty incredible.
Was that one kind of moment when you say, from now on everything's gonna be different?
No, it was one of those moments where you just shit yourself.
Well, what was it? A moment you consider a turning point?
When the four of us sat in a room together and first played. I mean, we'd been friends for a long while and played about in bands and everything. But when the four of us sat together and played the first song, it was all I want to do is rock was the first song we ever played together.
Yeah.
And it clicked, you know, it was like meeting the love of your life, you know, it suddenly felt right. And from that point on, that's what we tried to capture, you know, that's what Travis is about, really, that moment.
Yeah.
Were you all together in the art school?
No, it was there's a bar in Glasgow called the Horseshoe.
All right.
It's
Where
where
Neil used to work.
Yeah, and we were given a little room above it to sort of rehearse, and that's kind of where we sort of hold ourselves up for 6 months before we moved to London to get a deal. And when Dougie came in, I remember that it was amazing. I mean, just scary because Dougie had been practicing all the songs on the bass, and we hadn't tried it out together in a room.
Yeah, I was in my bedroom on my own with a tape.
But then when we were all sitting in the room, before we even played a note, it was that way. We looked at one another and were like, this is the band. You know, for 6 years we were friends, but Dougie wasn't in the band. But as soon as he stepped in and put the bass on, it was like, oh my God. And every show where it really comes together, that feeling, you know, the hairs on the backs of your arms stand up and stuff, it's weird. It's pretty special.
The magic was there.
Totally, yeah.
Okay, you want to play another song?
Yeah. We're going to work our way backwards through. We're going to play 3 tracks. That was the first one was Reoffender from the new record. This one is from the Invisible Band, and this is what we were probably recording when Neely met you in the record store. This is called Sing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sing,
Travis en la cadena de Radioactivo 98.5 en vivo para toda la Ciudad de México.
You're gonna have a lot of people singing tonight, right? I mean, we play here every single you put out, I think. So people are pretty...
People know the words.
Yeah, they're pretty familiar with the repertoire.
Actually, every year we make like a countdown of the most important singles of the year. So it was in 2000 or 2001. It was 2000. You guys came out number one with Why Does It Always Rain on Me?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's how big you are in this city.
Is that voted for by the listeners?
Yeah, some are by the listeners and some is chosen by
By
us.
the jockeys?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was good. Now, from the last few years to nowadays, we have seen the music change in a way of how it is sold and bought by people. It has gone to the computers and MP3 players and all this file sharing stuff. Where do you guys stand on this subject? Are you pro downloading stuff or?
As much as we can.
You have your iPod.
We're all iPod aficionados. We love it.
Yeah, it's like a huge
The more we-
record tape.
The easier it is to get music, the better. No matter what it is, whether it's through a record, whether it's down the computer, whether it's through the radio, whether it's across your TV. As long as people are getting music, I'm happy, you know?
In the record business, they just have to think of a way to make money from it. Because this is what happens all the time. Music and artists, they're always probably, you know, technology's always 10 years behind businessmen. Businessmen have to come and find a way of cashing in on it, and that's what business people do. Music has suddenly taken a massive leap in the past, 3 years, like you say, going on MP3s, AIFFs and iPods and Kazaa and Napster. The record companies, instead of going, right guys, let's try and figure out a way to make money here, they're panicking, and they're suing everyone. I can't believe, they're suing, like they sued some 12-year-old child for downloading stuff. Man, if it's available, people will do it. And it just shows that there is a massive demand for music. They've just got to think of a way of marketing it and selling it and making money from it in this new fashion.
Yeah, they shouldn't be fighting against it. They should be trying to assimilate it into what they do, and they kind of say, oh, it's killing music, but it's not. It's just killing the way the music industry is now, and that's no bad thing, because the music industry is just kind of basically stealing all the time.
What I'd just say also is, and it makes sense that the new music revolution is happening with computers, because all of the brains that were in the music industry, people that were like, oh, what will I do with my life, they've all moved into computers. They don't go to the music industry anymore. So it's no surprise that, Apple and all these places are making music desirable again in a new way. And it's kind of cool, that's happening.
But do you think downloading and the MP3 format is somehow killing the album as a form of art?
I don't think that necessarily matters, really. I think that, certainly for us, we don't go about making records. We don't go about making albums. We just make songs and then put them together because that's the way the industry demands that it be marketed. Mm-hmm. So we put kind of 11 or 12 songs together and call it an album. But generally, I think bands just make songs, and I think it's a good thing. Even if the music industry and the record labels all kind of fall by the wayside, we'll still be writing music and making songs and putting them out there somehow.
And I kind of trailed off before because I totally forgot what I was going to say. But what I was going to say was that the music industry used to be full of people that loved music, in the early days, and that's why there was so much great music going about. And then suddenly it's gotten really crap, because it's all run by accountants and lawyers and all of that. And then, what I was going to say is all the people who work at Macintosh and are developing these amazing things and new formats, they're all crazy music heads, they love music. And that's why, the thing is switched over to the other side. And, I think it's excellent.
I agree with you completely about the music industry. We have to go to a commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
It'll be fast and not that painful.
Okay, cool.
Travis está en la cadena de Radioactivo, en vivo para todos ustedes, en el 98.5.
Y hoy en la noche en el Palacio de los Deportes, todavía hay boletos si quieren darse una vuelta. Ahí vamos.
En este preciso instante, en la cabina de Radioactivo, Travis está realizando esta palabra, una de las zonas con mayor criminalidad en la Ciudad de México. No pongan resistencia. Preparen sus carteras. Y prepárense para las transmisiones especiales que tiene 985. 7 de febrero, a partir de las 13 horas. Celebrando 40 años de la invasión británica al continente americano. Celebrando la llegada de los Beatles al aeropuerto JFK de Nueva York en 1964. Radioactivo dedicará toda su programación al Reino Unido de la Gran Bretaña, Irlanda del Norte. Sábado 7 de febrero. Sábado 7 de febrero. Realizaremos nuestros acostumbrados enlaces en vivo. Desde el lugar de los hechos. Ya lo saben. Todos los detalles sobre la actuación del grupo México Travis se transmitirán en Radioactivo. Y eso no es todo. Travis se desplazará a la Ciudad de México para traer sus canciones de amor a una tierra llena de odio y bandas de robacoches. Preparen sus pertenencias y preparen sus corazones. Sábado 7 de febrero. Travis en vivo para la Ciudad de México desde la cabina de Radioactivo 98.5 FM. Sábado 7 de febrero, a partir de las 13 horas, un concierto acústico al que podrás asistir la ciudad entera, sintonizando 985. Travis en Radioactivo
98.5. Radioactivo.
El cuarteto creador de Good Feeling, The Man Who, The Invisible Band y 12 Memories actúa esta noche para la Ciudad de México. Radioactivo transmite todos los detalles.
Así es, 1 de la tarde con 36 minutos en la Ciudad de México. Travis continúa en esta cabina de radio transmitiendo para todos ustedes.
Estamos en vivo en Prado Sur 150 en la colonia Lomas de Chapultepec. Todavía pueden conseguir un boleto si quieren ir a ver a Travis hoy en la noche en los lugares de costumbre, Sopita.
Exactamente, no se lo pueden perder todos aquellos fans del Britpop. Travis es una de las bandas más importantes en este movimiento musical de mediados de los 90s.
So, are you guys ready to rock Mexico?
Oh, we can't wait, yeah.
Very excited.
It's been 7 years in the coming.
How long are you staying here? Are you leaving like tomorrow?
No.
Day after tomorrow.
Yeah.
On Monday.
Yeah,
Yes, we're
we're
going to go exploring tomorrow.
Going to go to the pyramids, I think.
How is it to be away from home when you're on tour? Maybe you spend a year or two away from your people, your house, your stuff there at home. Is it hard?
I mean, it
living
gets
on the
hard
road?
when you do it in big kind of long blocks, like if you're away for a couple of months at a time, then home for a week and then away for another 2 months. But this time's been great because we've kind of cut it up into 3-week kind of chunks. So we're away for 3 weeks, then home for a couple of weeks and then away. So it's just kind of a bit more sensible.
That's good. And you all live in London now, right?
Neil lives in Lancaster, which is kind of north of England. But me, Andy and Franny all live in London.
It's a good city to live in?
Was that?
Is it a good city to live in?
Yeah,
it's cool, yeah.
It takes a while to get used to.
Was that London?
London. It kind of took me about 3 years to get used to living in it. It was quite strange at first, but once you get used to it, it's pretty good. It's like a collection of villages more than a city, all connected by the underground.
Yeah.
What bands do you consider your peers?
What groups?
Yeah.
Or peers? What do you mean, like currently?
Yeah,
In the
like...
well, all the obvious ones, like, you know, our friends, Oasis, Coldplay, Blur, who else? And I think, but mostly, I mean, Travis have always been kind of outsiders. You know, we've always, it might seem sometimes like there's a group of bands come together, but we've always kind of been our own little thing, you know. Even in Glasgow, you know, 13 years ago or whatever, we were our little tiny, when you had all your sort of, you know, teenage fan club, and there was loads of cool bands going about, and we were kind of the
island. Yeah. They were the mainland and we were the island.
Yeah. They looked at us and kind of went, yeah, because, you know, we enjoy ourselves on stage, and we smile and we kind of have fun, and that, when people do that, some people say that's uncool or whatever, and I always felt like, God, you know, if we had just a chance, because I think your greatest weaknesses are then turned into your greatest strengths, and I think that's one of our greatest strengths, is that we actually, when we're on stage, we love, you know, love performing together, and we kind of get off on it.
But the guys in Teenage Fan Club are like much older than you, no?
What's that?
They are much older than you.
Yeah, they are. Not much, you know, they're about, 7 years, 10 years, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're sweet though, they're the
They're
sweetest
lovely
guys.
We love them.
But they were always, Teenage Fan Club actually they're kind of heroes of ours, you know. We love them very much. They helped us out when we were making demos. They were in the same studio as us, and Norman, like, lent me his acoustic guitar, and lent Andy the
amps and things.
amp. They were lovely and very encouraging and stuff. And I still think, you know, Teenage Fan Club could have been the Beatles, you know.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know, they just kind of, I think you've got to really push it out, you know, and move out. I think they got married and had kids and they stayed in Glasgow, and that's fine, you know. But it's a big world out there, and we're definitely much more sort of, we have a bit more wanderlust, you know, we like to get about.
Now, talking about covers, let's talk about covers. We have listened to you play Here Comes the Sun by George Harrison, Killer Queen by Queen, and Baby One More Time by Britney Spears.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you pick the covers you're going to make? Is it some kind of tribute to the bands you like, or do you just like the song?
It kind of varies. Sometimes it just happens accidentally, you know, and sometimes it's kind of just in sound check or kind of when we're all sitting around, something will come out that sounds like something. You're like, oh, that sounds a bit like Killer Queen. Let's have a go at that. And then it kind of becomes this experiment in trying to sound like Queen.
It never, with Travis, it never happens. Like, we never sit down and go, because we tried to do it on the bus the other night. We were all sitting and going, right, what can we do? What new cover can we do? And we can never think of any, because someone's like, blah, 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 and it's like, And someone's like, what about that? No, oh, that's good, and not sure. And it just happens generally when you're standing on stage and someone's sort of going, oh, like.
You also have The Weight by the band, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of our favourite.
That's one of the songs. It's like an honour to play that song. It's like sort of wearing someone's really nice suit, you know.
Yeah, it's a really cool song.
Yeah, it's very, very, very nice.
Apparently, Levon Helm heard the song, you know, the drummer from the band heard the song and really liked the version of it, which really...
It's a great compliment, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Which was the first concert you were in that you said, that's what I want to do in my life?
Mine's was a really cheesy pop star in Scotland called Owen Paul, who had a song called My Favourite Waste of Time. And my friend won tickets to go and see a concert, and I just went along with him. And we were the only boys in the audience. There's all girls and this guy, and I don't know.
That's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I thought, that's pretty good.
So that was a reward, you know, being just among girls and...
I think sort of growing up in Glasgow, seeing some of the bands that were making it, you know, we used to go and see Big Country at like the place called the Barlands in Glasgow. And you just went and the whole place was jumping, you know, for the whole night. And you're just like, I want to do this. I want to be up there making this place jump, you know.
Yeah, I remember going to see, my first concert that I went to see was Simple Minds at Ibrox Park, which is a big football stadium. And that was when I was about 12. And that was just amazing, seeing this kind of 60,000 people, you know, and just kind of into this mad band. And it was brilliant. And it just looked like a lot of fun, yeah.
Do you still listen to a lot of music? Or
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You travel with a lot of music with you?
Well, we've all got their iPods.
The iPod thing's amazing.
How many songs do you have?
I've got 2,500 in mine.
I see you're beating me at the moment. I'm only 1,700 at the moment.
Yeah, I'm in the lead.
What's the best you've heard lately?
Best I've heard lately, I really like that band Jet. I think they're amazing.
Spoon.
And Spoon, band from Austin, Texas. They're just fantastic. They've got like loads of records out. I just discovered them through a friend. And it's just one of those things where you just discover this little seam and there's about 8 albums to kind of get into. But they're brilliant, brilliant songwriters.
I'm a big fan of R.E.M., going right back, you know, to the very start and stuff. Although I've never yet seen them play live.
Really?
They're
Me neither.
It would be, I don't think, you know, now, you know, because the drummer's not there anymore, it's a completely different thing altogether, you know, and I will never, unless...
My eyes, I'm seeing a tunnel at the end of all these lights. Sunny days, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling you belong. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? Why does it always rain on me? Even when the sun is shining, I can't avoid the lightning. I can't stand myself. I'm being held up by invisible men, still alive on a shelf when I got my mind on something else. Sunny days, oh, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling along. alright. Still I can't close my eyes. I'm seeing a tunnel at the end of all these lights. Sunny days. Oh, where have you gone? I get the strangest feeling you belong. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? Why does it always rain on me? Even when the sun is shining, I can't avoid the lightning. Oh, where did the blue sky go? Oh, and why is it raining so cold? So cold. Why does it always rain on me? Is it because I lied when I was 17? Why does it always rain on me? Even when the sun is shining, I can't avoid the lightning. Why does it always rain on me? Why does it always rain
Yeah.
Damas y caballeros, Travis está en vivo en la cabina de Radioactivo 98.5, hoy que es sábado 7 de febrero del año 2004, y se presentarán esta noche en el Palacio de los Deportes. Todavía pueden conseguir sus entradas y las taquillas del mismo lugar si se van yendo para allá.
Exactamente. Well, we want to wish you a great show tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. You don't know that, but we have like a strong relation with Travis here in the station.
And it was amazing
Thank you.
to...
Well, thanks
To have
for-
you here.
Yeah, thanks for playing the music.
Yeah, we like it a lot. Thanks for making it. I don't want to be kissing your butt here.
So just a bit. I like you more than you like me. I actually like you
No,
more than
no.
you like me.
I mean, but people out there know we are not lying just because we have you here. They know for a long time we've been...
Well, we're going to play our balls off today.
I know it's quite soon to ask this, but do you have any plans of recording soon again?
Oh yeah. We're gonna go back to the UK. We're gonna do our UK tour. Then we're maybe gonna go over to Japan maybe. And then maybe do 1 or 2 shows in Europe. And then for 6 months I'm gonna just go back and start writing. And hopefully we might have a record out by next year.
Are you going to play the summer festivals?
Where, this year?
Yes.
No.
None?
Next year.
We played, see the thing is we played for like 7 years, 6 years. We played pretty much every single year. So we've sort of taken 2 steps back and just going to let everyone else kind of do it and have a little break from the sort of summer kind of thing. The festivals, I think, are the sort of highlight of the year for all bands, because you get to meet new friends and old friends, and you generally don't see each other in other bands, other sort of bands.
We just go to hang out. If we're not playing, we'll just go and hang out and see some of the bands. Yeah. I really want to go and see Coachella this year because the Pixies are playing, aren't they?
Yeah, and The Cure and Radiohead and Kraftwerk.
They're going to do a UK tour as well.
Are they doing a UK tour?
Yeah, they just announced it.
I quite fancy Coachella.
Did the
Anyway.
Pixies
Next
play
week,
here?
just-
Yeah. The
But the
Pixies
tickets sold out in minutes.
Yeah.
But maybe you can score some.
Yeah, we know some people.
I'm pretty sure you do. Yeah, but Coachella is going to be great. Which is your favorite festival to go to as a fan? You know?
Glastonbury's always good in Britain.
Tea in the Park, I think, is the
Scotland.
one that's the Scottish festival, and it's just, that's kind of our homecoming whenever we play it, and that's always fantastic because it's just like 60,000 insane drunk Glaswegians, and it's always good fun.
And it kind of holds a special place for us because we played the very first Tea in the Park, and then we had a few years where we didn't do it, and then we just sort of played. We worked our way up the stages until we headlined it, and we've had this relationship with them from the very beginning, because the people that run Tea in the Park also own a venue in Glasgow called King Tut's Wawa Hut, which is where Oasis got their record.
Yeah, where Alan McGee's Oasis, right?
Exactly. And so they put our shows on there as well. So the people have been with us for forever. So it's got a big place in our hearts. Tea in the Park.
How about tonight's set list?
Oh, well, we're going to shake it up a little bit, just a little bit tonight. We're going to play some songs that we haven't played for a while because, we're trying to make up for lost time.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm going to say that in Spanish. Dicen que van a cambiar mucho el set y tocar cosas que deben.
Para ponerse al corriente con los años de ausencia que han tenido en la ciudad.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being here.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
It was like a great pleasure to have you here.
Damas y caballeros, Travis estuvo en vivo en esta cabina de Radioactivo 98.5.
Y hoy en la noche del Palacio de los Deportes vamos a un corte. Gracias por habernos escuchado en esta transmisión especial. Después,
Bueno, seguir las transmisiones,
continúa de aquí hasta la noche. Hey.
goodbye, friend.
Thank you.
Nos vamos a un corte y volvemos.
Noticias. Intensidad.
Pedro Ferrice con
Noticias con intensidad.
6:45 a 11 de la mañana.
En imagen informativa. 95.
Uno de los más importantes grupos británicos de rock ahora en México. Travis en concierto. Este 7 de febrero en el Palacio de los Deportes. Boletos en taquillas o al 5325-9000. Patrocinado por Corona. Todo con medida.
Lo que bien se aprende es por México.
A mitad de la jornada de esta administración, la SEP eleva la calidad de la enseñanza.
Más de 589,000 profesores de primaria y secundaria en cursos nacionales de actualización.
Renovación profesional de los maestros para preparar mejores mexicanos.
La educación es asunto de todos.
www.sep.gov.mx.
Contigo es posible. Secretaría de Educación Pública.
El Banco de México continúa con la celebración de la unión de los estados de la República Mexicana en una federación. Y en los próximos 5 meses pondrá en circulación las monedas conmemorativas de 100 pesos, con los escudos de Tamaulipas, Tabasco, Sonora, Sinaloa y San Luis Potosí. Tendrán el centro de plata, en el anverso el escudo nacional y en el reverso el escudo de una de las entidades federativas. No sustituyen a los billetes de 100 pesos. Únete a la celebración. Tu moneda tiene un valor. Consérvala. www.banxico.org.mx.
El Instituto Nacional de las Mujeres trabaja para que caminemos juntos. Más de 9,000 personas han sido capacitadas en género. Ha destinado 22 millones de pesos a 147 organizaciones de la sociedad civil comprometidas con la equidad. Y en el marco del federalismo se han destinado más de 30 millones de pesos para el fortalecimiento de las instancias de la mujer. Hacia la equidad avanzamos con paso firme y rumbo claro. Contigo es posible. Instituto Nacional de las Mujeres.
Año 2004. El peor enemigo sigue siendo uno mismo. Radioactivo contra radioactivo.